Good evening and welcome to Midnight Movie Club and my review of Godzilla King of the Monsters. Godzilla King of the Monsters was directed by Michael Dougherty and stars Ken Watanabe, Vera Farmiga, Millie Bobby Brown, Kyle Chandler and Charles Dance. It also obviously stars our titans King Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra and last but certainly not least, Godzilla. The film follows members of the cryptozoological agency Monarch, who contain and study these ancient monsters, now dubbed Titans. Monarch must battle with both the Titans that want to harm us and in the courtroom with the military. Monarch believe that the Titans that are here to protect us should be left alone, while the military believe it is best to destroy them all. While this problem is ongoing, Titans are being awoken all around the globe from a mysterious eco-terrorist group who believe the Titans will restore the planet to its rightful balance. Now that the Titans are awake, they are all vying for supremacy to be the alpha, and humanity's very existence is hanging in the balance. Now first up on this review, I would like to talk about the narrative and more in particular its pacing issues. As I just explained the plot, it took me a while to do so. It's hard to wrap the film up in a few sentences or less. Now that could be a good or bad thing for a movie with gigantic monsters. Maybe a gigantic story is great, but here for me personally, it wasn't. I really felt that it held the movie back in a big way. There is just far too much going on and we don't get enough time with each character or each Titan more importantly before everything starts going to shit. Each Titan's origins and capabilities are kind of just rushed over. I felt like the Mutos in the 2014 film had a better setup than the Titans here in King of the Monsters, which is a damn shame as they are so fucking awesome when they do show what they are capable of. I just wish that we had a little more time with each of them before we got into the thick of it. I felt within the first act of the film it was just a bit all over the place. The editing was quite jarring and jumpy, like the film couldn't focus on one thing for more than a few minutes. This made it quite challenging to focus on one plot thread before another popped up, and it led to some character motivations being very questionable and confusing. Most motivations do get ironed out throughout the film, but in the moment it's quite hard to understand why some people do certain things. The first act and setting up the rest of the film to me was messy, but the second and third I found not as bad. We do have another antagonist throughout the film apart from the evil Titans, and I did buy their motive and found it quite conflicting, which I liked. It was one of the more interesting themes within the human story, and I would have liked to have seen that explained and expanded on a little more. As far as acting goes on the human side of things, everyone puts in a solid performance, and there was a moment of great emotion that I really felt, and it was one of the few times I found myself caring about the human story in a MonsterVerse film. For me, the standouts were Ken Watanabe as Dr. Serizawa. I loved him in King of the Monsters, just like Godzilla 2014. Along with him, Kyle Chandler is solid. I just wish that they dived into his character's demons a little more. Vera Farmiga was good, I just hated her character. And Millie Bobby Brown was great at being terrified of big monsters and looking scared constantly. But I do just want to go into something quickly. I think this is a problem every MonsterVerse film has faced and will possibly always face. The audiences are there mostly for the monsters, not the humans, and it will always be a challenge to make us care about the human story within these films. So in a way I do expect it and I don't let it bother me too much as I am a huge Godzilla fan. I can overlook when watching them, but when it comes to reviewing them, I cannot be biased and just bypass those problems as that wouldn't be fair. Just because I love Godzilla doesn't mean I can give it a pass for half of its story being pretty piss poor. For me, the human story here was better than Skull Island's, but worse than Godzilla 2014's, and that really affects its overall score. Now I'm going to get my last negative out of the way because I really do want to get onto the positives because King of the Monsters has plenty of them as well. My last little negative, and once again coming from the human side, was just the awkward humour. There were a couple of moments where it was okay and it didn't stick out too much like a sore thumb, but then there are other moments where it is just trash and took me out of the moment. There is one character in particular that cannot say one line without it being a joke, and they crack them in moments where you just would not be joking at all. But enough of the negatives, let's now move on to what I loved about this film. The Titans, the Titan fights, the CGI, and the sound design. First off, when these Titans are on screen, you do feel the amazing sense of scale and just how destructive they are. The CGI is absolutely fantastic, it's some of the best I've ever seen. This goes for not just the Titans, but also the destruction that follows them, the storms and the landscapes that surround these ancient epic beings are just so perfect. The Titan fights themselves are absolutely amazing. Each Titan has their own style and personality that is really brought through in great motion capture. Each one of Ghidorah's heads seems to have its own personality and motives, and that really comes through. I just loved how they done that. The colour and goddess likeness of Mothra too is outstanding in how they portray her. I was a real fan of the changes to her original design, and in the final cut she looks fantastic. She stole the show visually. For me though, who really stole the show was Rodan. I loved how he was constantly dripping with magma and was basically a flying volcanic storm. Seeing him come out of that volcano and glide over Isla Demona with the destruction below was insane. The dogfight with him and the jets was also just fucking amazing. But though I do feel like both Mothra and Rodan could have had a little more screen time and more to do, although I do understand the focus of this film was really on the rivalry between Ghidorah and Godzilla, whose fights are utterly badass and jaw-dropping. The way these two collide, and with the other titans and destruction around them, it really is a Godzilla fan's wet dream. The way the cinematography frames each of these titans and the battles themselves makes it even better. They don't hold back on showing us anything this time round, and when it comes to the fights, you won't be disappointed. Every shot of these titans in this film is pure artistry and could be hung up in a gallery and wouldn't look out of place. What also helps amplify the scale of these epic shots even more is the banging score by Bear McCreary. This soundtrack is full of tribal-like chants to Godzilla that sounds like ancient civilizations conjuring him up to go to war for them, and it really gets you amped for the battles that dance to it. It really is everything you'd want from a Godzilla soundtrack, mixing the old with the new, and complements the visuals perfectly. All in all, Godzilla King of the Monsters has fantastic Titan action, but along with this, a very contrived plot. So basically, it is your standard MonsterVerse movie. Apart from its narrative downfalls with the human story and the pacing and a few other things here and there that I don't want to touch on for spoiler purposes, this is another solid entry into the MonsterVerse. So, with all that said and done, I'm going to give Godzilla King of the Monsters a 3 out of 5 rating. If I was rating this film off the Titan action, it would be a 5 out of 5, no questions asked. But if I was rating it off the rest of the story without the Titans, it would be a 1 out of 5. It was a bittersweet movie for myself in the end. I wanted to love it in a way I did though when it came to the Titan moments that I craved for. But mixed with everything else, it was just above average. Now we look forward to Godzilla vs Kong, and I can't fucking wait. Fingers crossed though, they get the story a bit better in that one. Anyway, let me know what you all thought of King of the Monsters in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this video, drop it a like, and if you haven't already, then subscribe to join the club. As always, thank you very much for watching, and good night.